We have Metroid Samus Returns. It's a side-scroller Metroid adventure. I've wanted this for years. Still gotta talk about it. Metroid Samus Returns. The thumbnail of this video is supposed to be me with my Samus cannon. It's not just a fist. So Metroid Samus Returns is a 2D side-scroller Metroid adventure for the 3DS, which is ultimately a retelling of Metroid 2 Return of Samus. Return of Samus, Samus Returns. Grammatically, they mean the same thing. The story is after the first Metroid, or Metroid Zero Mission, whichever you prefer, Samus then goes to the Metroid homeworld of SR388 to wipe out all the Metroids. Only the Metroids are evolving, so when you fight the Metroids, you don't just fight them in their Metroid form that you knew from the first game. You fight these advanced Metroids. Every few Metroids, they're a little more advanced. You have 40 Metroids that you have to kill. Killing the Metroids and or getting new abilities unlock different sections of the map that you saw before but you couldn't get to. That mechanic in game is called Metroidvania. This is one of the two games to which that mechanic of gameplay is actually named after. I mean, it's not a straight up port in terms of map, abilities, weapons that you get. There's new stuff in here that was not in Metroid 2, which is a good thing, and the concept is still the same. Essentially, it's the story of Metroid 2. I love the fact that they did this for Metroid 2 because Metroid 2 is such an important part of the Metroid story. The events of Super Metroid and Metroid Fusion are directly linked to the events of Metroid 2. Maybe not a lot of people played it. Maybe people got it later on. They were like, oh, every room has the same color scheme because it's Game Boy and there's no map. No, I hope they remake this one day. I mean, I'll admit, I played Metroid 2 in the past couple years for the first time in my life, but I also had a map of the entire thing on my phone right next to me because there was no way I was going through this without a map. I don't care. Call me a cheater. Do not give a shit. But it was fun, but now I'm glad we have Metroid Samus Returns so people can appreciate the game that is or was Metroid 2. And this game actually has a lot of stuff. The Spider Ball is the iconic Metroid 2 abilities. When you turn into the Morph Ball, then you can spider crawl up walls and ceilings with it. That's in here, but there are a lot of other abilities also. There's a rapid fire ability. The map ability is really, it's how you get a map. There's no station that's like, oh, now you grabbed the map or you unlocked the map. No, it's an ability that sends out a blast from Samus. It unlocks a map within the square. It also shows you any spaces that you can get through, you know, like maybe a bomb will work there, a missile will work there. Shows you hidden paths and areas. Some people like that mechanic, some people don't. I thought it was fine. For people who are like, that breaks the game, then you don't have to use it. There's nothing written that says you have to use that ability. I spammed the shit out of it because I wanted 100%. But the newest thing in this entire game is a melee counter ability. You push X and Samus will do a counter. You need to do that because a lot of enemies, when they see you, they'll charge you. And if you counter them and hit them with it, one shot, they die. Without it, it takes a few shots. And this adventure's actually pretty long. My first playthrough took me 15 hours to get 100%. The speed run will take you 4. Most Metroid games preceding this one take about 3 hours for the speed run. Right there, by implication, it's 33% longer. And that's what I can say about Samus Returns. It's one of those games, when you're done with it, you don't just put it down. So often these days, it's like, all right, I'm done with the game. On to other shit, because there's so much entertainment that just floods at us at 150,000 miles an hour. But the thing that's in my mind right now, and it's been so long since I've had this thought, is I want to play through this game again more efficiently, with a better time. As a game you don't want to put down. I have waited so long for a side-scroller Metroid game. Not only did this game not disappoint, but it actually very much impressed me. The two annoyances I have in this game, and comparatively to the fun I had, are actually pretty minor, are one, the floor traps. This game completely overplays the floor trap card. Other Metroid games do it a couple times. What I mean is, you know those floor sections that you stand on and it immediately just breaks away and then reforms above you? It's a floor trap. Only a couple times in this game is it clear that you're like, I'm just not supposed to get across that floor trap section yet. Best way I can compare it is just imagine you need to get across a room and someone's put a little pile of shit in the middle of the room. In the worst case scenario, you step on it, get annoyed, and then walk around it and get there anyway. It doesn't really hinder your ability to get to your goal. Why even have them? When the floor traps don't provoke you to find a little hidden passage and get away around, and the floor traps simply are there for you to, oh, I gotta jump over it, I guess. All you're doing is taking 1 minute off of my life. And after the would-be end boss, which is the end boss that was in Metroid 2 Return of Samus, there is another end boss that you run across. But it doesn't feel like a really cool thing. It just feels out of place. Like, why are you here? Kind of comes across as anticlimactic. The game ending would have been cleaner if you beat the Metroid 2 boss and then go to the ship. That's the end. But for a side-scroller Metroid game, for me, the things that matter are atmosphere, tone, gameplay, fun. And it excels at all of that. Plus the fact that it's a very important chapter in the Metroid saga, so I'm glad other people get to experience it also. I hope this game does well in sales, well in reception. I want to see another side-scroller Metroid game. The story goes, this was actually pitched to Nintendo to be a remake for Metroid Fusion. I think that might be jumping the gun. Metroid Fusion, gameplay-wise, is actually quite good, quite playable now. So I'm glad they did Metroid 2 instead, because that is the Metroid game that could have benefited from this the most. But I'd like to see a game after Metroid Fusion. Metroid Metroid Fusion is the latest of the Metroid games, chronologically speaking. It's the last thing that happened in Samus's life. So what happened after that? What's the next chapter? It's been about 15 years, so I'd like to know. But guys, in the end, Metroid Samus Returns was fantastic. It was a lot of fun. When I was playing the game and I saw that there was a counter mechanic, it changed everything entirely. It was a new mechanic that I'd never seen in a side-scroller Metroid game. It does piggyback a bit on Super Metroid in terms of theme, like musical theme. Doesn't change the fact that Samus Returns has given me the rare mindset of cannot wait to get back into it and play it after I've already beaten it. Minor nitpicks aside, Metroid Samus Returns remains awesome-tacular. Alright guys, so Metroid Samus Returns. Have you played it? What did you think about it? Whatever you thought, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.